In the United States today, there are more than 100 million licensed drivers. 95% of these drivers drink alcoholic beverages, from occasionally to frequently. And much too often, the drinking and driving are done concurrently, because today, drinking and driving are readily acceptable by the motoring public. The majority of these drinking drivers are responsible people. But having lost control of their drinking, they sometimes lose control of their driving. With our ever-increasing highway traffic death toll, it is alarming to note, and this is confirmed through extensive tests by police agencies throughout the country, that more than 50% of all traffic deaths can be attributed directly to the drinking driver. The 20th century was less than 5 years old when the relationship of alcohol to vehicular death and injury was already a rapidly developing social and health problem. In the early 1930s, a few carefully planned and executed scientific investigations were conducted to examine the relationship of alcohol to actual crashes. The results from that day forward have been overwhelmingly consistent. During the last 35 years, in every area of the nation in which the concentrations of alcohol among those responsible for initiating crashes have been investigated, alcohol has been found to be the largest single factor leading to fatal crashes. And with each succeeding year, more and more drinking drivers are adding color to our highways. Most people believe the time-worn slogan, "If you drink, don't drive," is outdated. But it remains as the ideal solution for safe driving. The alternative for the driver who insists on drinking and driving is to drink in such a manner that he will not be under the influence of alcohol when he does drive. The foremost problem facing all motorists who drink and drive is that of determining what is a safe drinking level without being under the influence. This problem becomes more difficult because of the varying effects on individuals under different circumstances. Recognized as some of the most important variables are the drinker's weight. A large person may drink more than a small one without effect. The quantity of food in the stomach is a factor, for the presence of food lengthens the period of time that the alcohol takes to enter the bloodstream. The amount of alcohol consumed, the length of time over which it is consumed, and very importantly, the time elapsed since the last drink. Time is a significant factor because about 90% of the alcohol in the bloodstream is eliminated through oxidation and is accomplished chiefly by the liver. Normally, the liver can handle about 3/4 of an ounce of whiskey per hour. For this reason, most people are able to drink a beer or a highball each hour without increasing their blood alcohol level and hence do not become under the influence. The liver accomplishes this oxidation at a constant rate, which cannot be increased by black coffee, physical exercise, or cold showers. Contrary to the belief of many, alcohol is not a stimulant, but is medically classified as a drug, a depressant that acts as an anesthetic on the central nervous system. Beverage alcohol does not have to be digested before being used by the body. When alcohol reaches the stomach and intestines, it is absorbed directly into the blood vessels and carried through the bloodstream to all parts of the body, including all parts of the brain. Alcohol in the brain is responsible for its intoxicating effects, and the highest functional developments of the brain are the most sensitive to alcohol, causing impairment of judgment, attitude, and alertness. These are the most vital functions in the operation of a motor vehicle, and the impairment of them is the very core of the drinking and driving problem. We can't take too lightly the fact that these very important brain functions are impaired before the obvious signs of intoxication appear. It should be remembered by all drivers that it is unlawful in every state for a person under the influence of intoxicating liquor to operate a motor vehicle on a public highway. Rather than use the number of drinks of any given variety of alcoholic beverages as a measurement of intoxication, it has become customary for police agencies and medical examiners to express the blood alcohol concentrations in percentage by weight. 3 blood alcohol concentrations, 500ths, 1000ths, and 1500% are noteworthy because of their frequent use in reports, recommendations of experts, and legal definitions. Levels below 500% are ordinarily regarded as inconsequential, and normally this level is reached by consuming 2 ounces of liquor. This doesn't mean that one cannot be impaired below this level, as proven by the fact that in Norway, the law considers 500% sufficient to render a person incapable of safe operation of a motor vehicle. With the liver functioning at its capacity, even by taking only 2 drinks per hour over any given period of time, the blood alcohol level will be constantly increasing. With more than 2 drinks per hour, the blood alcohol level rises at a much faster rate. If an average-sized person has 5 or 6 drinks in a short period of time, his blood alcohol level will rise to 0.1% within 1 hour. The National Highway Safety Bureau, the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, the American Medical Association, and the National Safety Council all recommend that an individual with 0.1% blood alcohol concentration may be presumed to be under the influence of intoxicating liquor. Some experts now contend that the figure should be 0.800%. Having consumed enough alcohol to reach a level of 0.100%, this concentration will last for a period of over 5 hours, at which most drivers are adversely affected with respect to highway safety. The following authentic drinking and driving tests will prove this to be true.
We, the Ohio State Highway Patrol, welcome the opportunity to cooperate in the various driving exercises performed by our patrolmen. After these 6 patrolmen go through their driving exercises and are graded, they will be given varying amounts of alcohol, tested by the breathalyzer, and go through the driving test once more. Our experiences in traffic accident investigation tell us that many people underestimate the effects of alcohol. We are hopeful that you, the motoring public, will be strongly influenced by viewing the wet runs of our drivers and their obvious impairment by drinking. Let's get on with the exercises.
Traffic cones were set up immediately adjacent to the Academy for the dry run segment of our driving exercises. The Ohio State Highway Patrol utilizes 10 events in its driving program, but we are using only 3 in our demonstration today. We see here one of our subjects maneuvering the interchange of traffic lanes. It will be obvious to the viewer later why no high-speed events were included in our tests. The traffic lanes formed by the yellow cones are not in exact alignment with each other, making the approach to each one different. The maneuvers in this event are used every day, and it is stressed that the driver use both hands on the steering wheel, palms down, and to turn the wheel in the overhand method. There would be far fewer accidents if all drivers were compelled to take this type of a driving course. Our second exercise is termed pursuit turns and stresses 3 acceptable ways in which an automobile may be turned. They're demonstrated here and designated as the left side road turn, the right side road turn, and the U-turn. The cones are so placed for the U-turn portion of this event that they emphasize precision handling of the car to complete the maneuver without touching any of the cones. A highway patrolman must be able to instantly size up the roadway situation and decide what type of turn can best be made in order to take up pursuit of a vehicle going in a different direction. The ordinary driver should make left side and right side road turns as has been shown in this exercise. The final event in our dry runs is the serpentine. The cones are placed so there is just enough room to get around them with an automobile. This exercise stresses smooth steering and gas pedal control. This event can be run both forward and reverse. One of the basic reasons for the patrol's driving program is to teach each individual proficiency in the handling of a motor vehicle. He must know where the extremities of the car are with respect to other vehicles, curbs, obstacles, and other objects. He should be able to visualize the exact path of the wheels, either forward or reverse, and to survey that path of travel. Time does not permit our showing all drivers in the dry runs, but 3 of our 6 subjects participated, and each was accompanied by a uniformed officer. In the Academy cafeteria, our 6 subjects were given a choice of gin, scotch, or bourbon. All 6 chose bourbon. Each subject was served a different amount. 8 ounces of 100 proof bourbon was the most served to any individual. This was served to subject number 1. Most of the subjects chose a carbonated mix for their drinks, and it might be well to note that carbonation gets the alcohol into the bloodstream faster. Some chose to use only ice with their bourbon. Our 6 subjects, although members of the Ohio State Highway Patrol, were dressed in civilian attire because of the nature of the experiment. Each was accompanied by a uniformed officer throughout the day. During the drinking session, the uniformed officers recorded all pertinent data regarding the times and quantities of alcohol consumed. We could have used 6 average drivers for these tests, but we knew that because of the very fact they were being tested, they would be nervous and make errors that they would not ordinarily make. Fortunately, we were able to use these patrolmen. They all have a great amount of driving experience, most of them logging over 50,000 miles per year. In addition to this, they are accustomed to being tested on different phases of police work. So with the introduction of alcohol to these tests, any faults or errors made by these drivers can be attributed directly to the alcohol, rather than to nervousness or inexperience. By the time most of the alcohol had been consumed, our subjects had lost their serious attitude toward the test. One who doesn't ordinarily smoke began smoking. And one who was fearful of becoming ill decided it would be better if he didn't consume all of his allocation of liquor.
Yeah, call a record.
Carson's got to drive that good runs
You want to take your coat off?
Yeah,
You want to take your coat off?
That sounds like a good idea.
get him on film.
Hey, you do it.
I still want to know where it goes.
You want me to hang it up down there? Do you have anything in it? I'll put it on the hanger.
Make sure they got the planes in out back. Hey, can you make that help? I'm already. You're looking at it right here.
What?
Well, the car was crashed, so the Japanese guy walks in. Sits down beside this guy, and the guy's loaded. Yeah, he's wearing glasses.
20 minutes elapsed before breathalyzer readings were taken. Subject number 4 consumed 3 ounces and registered 0.065%. Subject number 5 drank 4 ounces and registered a blood alcohol level of 0.071.
Give me the ice.
Hey, dog, get my car and bring around here in front.
That guy down there in that brown.
Number 6 had 6 ounces. And was measured at 0.05. Subject number 1, having drunk 8 ounces, predicted that he would reach a level of 16, and he did. 16.6. That's right, 16.6, which is above the presumptive level for all states. Subject number 2 had a net 5 ounces and registered 0.097. Number 3 also consumed 5 ounces and reached a blood alcohol level of 0.098. After all breathalyzer readings had been recorded, we moved again to the driving test area. First tested was subject number 3. This took place 1 hour and 21 minutes after he had consumed 5 ounces of 100 proof bourbon. Note the jerky motion of this maneuver, caused by the subject riding the brakes. This exercise should be smooth throughout. Subject registered 0.098 prior to driving. This is below the presumptive level in nearly all states. This is subject number 1. 2 hours after consuming 8 ounces and registering a blood alcohol level of 16.6.
I think I got these made.
Subject number 6, apparently a slow reactor, registered 0.05, but once outside, said he could feel a greater effect of the alcohol. He hit the left front traffic cone. Hit another cone. had his head out of the car window. This is not as prescribed for the best maneuverability of an automobile. He is a very capable driver, but was obviously impaired by drinking. Subject number 2, who registered .097, did not use the turn signal for left turn. Backed across the center line. Tried to back up, but still had the car in drive. Was unable to complete the U-turn. Incidentally, no driver tested after drinking was able to make the U-turn in the prescribed manner. Number 5 knew the prescribed turns, but decided on a new location for their execution.
Burn off. You missed the drive. That's the driveway we're supposed to use up there. What drive? That white between those cars. I did, but you didn't listen. You were doing fine. It was just passing up the wrong driveway. Well, they want to do the driveway. We'll go back and do it again.
It was obvious on the serpentine runs that all drivers increased their speed on the wet runs over those they had made before drinking. Speed and the inability to sense the attitude or position of the car are primary causes for accidents after drinking alcohol. Subject number 3 touched 5 cones during this test.
There's only one standing up. I mean, knocked down. You missed 2. Yeah.
In addition to overbraking on some occasions.
What am I supposed to do with that?
Immediately after this test, he registered a blood alcohol level of .062, a level at which most drivers feel confident in their driving and mistakenly feel they will not be impaired. Nearly 3 hours had passed since number 1's last drink, but his driving capabilities were still greatly impaired. The liver will reduce one's blood alcohol level by approximately 15 thousandths of 1% per hour, so there is no rapid return to an alcohol-free body. On the forward segment of the serpentine, subject number 1 hit 7 traffic cones.
Cut it back. Whoa. Back it around. Right back in. Strike that one.
attempted to run the exercise in reverse, he played havoc with the cones, striking nearly all of them.
Yeah, they want to be out. You'll have to lose your license. Probably didn't get the last couple
Immediately on completion of his test, he was measured again on the breathalyzer and registered 0.106, a level that is below the presumptive level in some states, but certainly not below the level of impairment. It was our objective in these demonstrations to prove that drivers are impaired at lower blood alcohol levels than most authorities realize, regardless of the amount of alcohol consumed. In a study conducted by the Department of Police Administration of Indiana University, it is proven that when the alcohol concentration reaches 0.06%, the probability of causing an accident is twice that of the alcohol-free driver. And at 0.10%, the probability is 6 times greater. When a driver's blood alcohol level reaches 0.0000%, the possibility of the driver causing a traffic accident is an alarming 25 times greater than if his body were essentially alcohol-free. These disturbing probabilities should have an impact on all who drink and drive. If you find yourself unable to completely abstain before driving, use care and judgment in the amount you drink. Pace yourself, or wait until your body is essentially alcohol-free before driving. It could save your life. And don't urge your friends to drink more or at a faster rate than they desire. Remember, the first effect of an alcoholic beverage is the feeling of well-being that impairs your judgment of the safe amount to drink.
Think twice before you have that drink for the road. It may be your last.
With our ever-increasing highway traffic death toll, it is alarming to note, and this is confirmed through extensive tests by police agencies throughout the country, that more than 50% of all traffic deaths can be attributed directly to the drinking driver. The 20th century was less than 5 years old when the relationship of alcohol to vehicular death and injury was already a rapidly developing social and health problem. In the early 1930s, a few carefully planned and executed scientific investigations were conducted to examine the relationship of alcohol to actual crashes. The results from that day forward have been overwhelmingly consistent. During the last 35 years, in every area of the nation in which the concentrations of alcohol among those responsible for initiating crashes have been investigated, alcohol has been found to be the largest single factor leading to fatal crashes. And with each succeeding year, more and more drinking drivers are adding color to our highways. Most people believe the time-worn slogan, "If you drink, don't drive," is outdated. But it remains as the ideal solution for safe driving. The alternative for the driver who insists on drinking and driving is to drink in such a manner that he will not be under the influence of alcohol when he does drive. The foremost problem facing all motorists who drink and drive is that of determining what is a safe drinking level without being under the influence. This problem becomes more difficult because of the varying effects on individuals under different circumstances. Recognized as some of the most important variables are the drinker's weight. A large person may drink more than a small one without effect. The quantity of food in the stomach is a factor, for the presence of food lengthens the period of time that the alcohol takes to enter the bloodstream. In the United States today, there are more than 100 million licensed drivers. 95% of these drivers drink alcoholic beverages, from occasionally to frequently. And much too often, the drinking and driving are done concurrently, because today, drinking and driving are readily acceptable by the motoring public. The majority of these drinking drivers are responsible people. But having lost control of their drinking, they sometimes lose control of their driving.